You know when you're scrolling your feed and you see a video or a meme that just seems to be everywhere? I mean, one minute it doesn't even exist, and the next, it's like the entire internet is talking about it. It feels so random, right? Like catching lightning in a bottle. But what if I told you it's not random at all? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the hidden science behind why we share.
Okay, so let's just dive right in. This is the big question, isn't it? Why does one video of a cat get, 30 likes, while another one becomes this global phenomenon? Why does one news story just disappear while another completely takes over the conversation for a week straight? It seems like a total mystery, but it turns out there are some really powerful psychological forces at work here.
Now, you've probably heard the old saying, if it bleeds, it leads. The popular idea is that the internet just runs on outrage, on anger, on all this negative stuff. And look, that's definitely part of the picture, but it's not even close to the whole story. The truth is actually way more interesting and, believe it or not, a little more optimistic.
So, is going viral really just like winning the lottery? You know, a complete game of chance where only a lucky few hit the jackpot? Or are there patterns? Is there maybe even a formula that explains why some things take off and others just fizzle out? Well, let's find out.
All right, before we get to the real secret sauce, the emotions, we have to start with the fundamentals. I mean, why do we share anything online in the first place? It turns out we're not just passively sitting there consuming media like zombies. We are active players, and we're looking to satisfy some very, very basic human needs.
And this brings us to this great idea from communication studies called the uses and gratifications theory. Now, the core concept is actually super simple. When you watch something or read something or listen to something, you are doing it for a reason. Your media use is goal-directed. You're trying to get something out of the experience.
So what are those goals? Well, we share stuff that has real practical value. You know, like a 5-minute recipe or a clever life hack. We share things to help us make sense of the world. Things that let us act more effectively in it. And, this one's huge, things that help us connect with other people. And of course, sometimes we just share stuff for pure entertainment, a little escape.
And what's really cool is we've got the data to prove it. Just look at these numbers from a study on what makes video ads go viral. Entertainment is at the top with a massive 0.509 importance score. And right behind it, informativeness at 0.443. Now look at the other stuff like social function or interactivity. I mean, they barely even make a dent in comparison. This totally confirms it. On a basic level, we are just wired to share things that are either really fun or really useful.
But here's the thing, just being useful or entertaining isn't enough to guarantee something goes viral. There's another ingredient, a much more powerful one. And this, my friends, is where we get into the real secret, the emotional cocktail. And it's not just that something makes you feel, it's how it makes you feel. And it's definitely not as simple as good versus bad.
This quote from a massive study out of the Wharton School just nails it. They analyzed almost 7,000 New York Times articles to figure out what landed on the most emailed list, and they found a key ingredient: physiological arousal. In other words, it's all about the intensity of the emotion. It's about what gets your heart pumping. Okay, let's break that down because it's super important. Think of emotions as having two different dials. The first dial is valence. That's just a fancy word for the type of emotion. Is it positive or negative? But the second dial, the one that really matters for sharing, is arousal. That's the intensity. Does the feeling fire you up and make you want to do something? Or does it kind of shut you down?
And this chart just lays it out crystal clear. Content that sparks those high arousal, high energy emotions is way, way more likely to get shared. It's that emotional jolt, that feeling of activation that literally pushes our finger towards the share button. Low arousal stuff, it just doesn't give us that same kick.
I mean, think about the last time you saw something just incredible. Maybe a breathtaking shot from a nature documentary, or a story about someone achieving something amazing against all odds. That feeling you get, that's awe. It's a positive emotion for sure, but it's also high arousal. It lights you up inside and makes you feel an immediate urge to go, whoa, you have got to see this.
Okay, now let's flip the coin. What about a story about some kind of injustice that just makes your blood boil? That feeling is anger. Now, that's a negative emotion, no question. But just like awe, it is extremely a high arousal. It gets us fired up, it makes us want to do something, and a lot of the time that something is hitting share to warn our friends and family.
And right here, this is the clincher. This is what proves the whole theory. What about sadness? It's a negative emotion, just like anger, but here's the key difference. Sadness is low arousal. It's deactivating. Think about a really heart-wrenching, tragic story. It might make you tear up, but it's much less likely to make you click share. It actually kills the impulse. See, it's not about good versus bad. It's about fire versus fizzle.
So, okay, we've got these incredibly powerful emotional triggers hardwired into us. But why does it seem like they have such an iron grip on us right now, more than ever before? To get that, we need to zoom out a bit and look at our whole relationship with media, which has gotten, well, pretty intense.
This is explained perfectly by something called media system dependency theory. And at its heart, the idea is actually really simple. The more you rely on media to understand the world, to get your news, to feel connected, the more power that media has over your thoughts and feelings. And let's be honest, in the age of smartphones and 24/7 news cycles, our dependency is through the roof.
And this whole dependency thing, it's like a three-way dance. It's built on these interconnected relationships between society as a whole, the media, and us, the audience. They're all constantly influencing each other in this big feedback loop. You know, society gets more complex and unstable, so we, the audience, need more information to make sense of it. The media then creates more content to meet that demand, which in turn makes us even more reliant on them. It's a cycle that just keeps feeding itself.
And this is where it all comes together. Our reliance on media, our dependency, absolutely skyrockets during those same high arousal moments in the real world, times of big social change, conflict, crisis. When we feel anxious or uncertain, we glue ourselves to the media for answers and a sense of connection. And that heightened state makes us even more susceptible to sharing the high arousal content that's being served up. It's a perfect storm.
Okay, we've talked about our basic human needs, those powerful emotional triggers, and the bigger societal picture. So now let's put all the pieces together. Let's build the formula that explains what makes something go viral.
And here it is, the recipe for virality. You start with a solid foundation. Make it useful or informative. Give people something of value. Then you add a spark of interest or surprise to make them stop scrolling and pay attention. But the secret ingredient, the real accelerant, is high arousal emotion. Content that inspires awe or triggers anger or creates anxiety, that's what launches it into the stratosphere.
So if there's one thing you take away from all of this, it's this. Virality isn't magic. It's not a lottery ticket. It is a predictable science. By understanding our basic needs and the incredible power of high arousal emotions, it becomes possible to design content that's made to spread. It's a formula that works by tapping into our deepest, most primal psychological triggers.
And that leaves us with one final question for you to think about the next time you're online. Now that you know the recipe, look at your own feed through this new lens. Are you the one making a conscious choice to share something? Or are those deep-seated emotional triggers making the choice for you? Think about it. Are you the one doing the sharing? Or are you the one being shared too?